Hey there, welcome to Beautiful Disasters. I'm so excited to kick off this new YouTube channel where we dive deep into true crime, history, and break down episodes of your favorite TV shows and movies. Today, I want to talk about a case that has fascinated me for years, the shooting at Quad Studios, and the sexual assault case involving Tupac Shakur. This is a story that has so many layers and twists, and I can't wait to share all the details with you. As we explore this case together, we'll uncover the truth behind what really happened that fateful night, the key players involved, and the impact it had on Tupac's life and career. It's a story that will keep you on the edge of your seat, and I promise you won't want to miss a single detail. So if you're a fan of true crime, history, or just love a good mystery, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. I can't wait to share more fascinating stories with you all, so stay tuned for more from Beautiful Disasters. Thanks for watching. Tupac's troubles escalated dramatically after he was shot on November 30, 1994 at 12:20 a.m. This incident ignited his infamous feud with Biggie, Puffy, and Bad Boy Records. While recording in a Times Square studio, he was hit 5 times. Various theories surrounded the shooting, with the media often framing it as a typical robbery gone wrong, suggesting that Tupac reached for his gun and was shot in the process. However, Tupac himself believed the narrative was far more complex than that. Tupac's troubles reportedly began on the set of Above the Rim, where he encountered a man named Nigel. Nigel then introduced him to Trevor, both of whom were said to be affiliated with the Black Mafia and rumored to have financial ties to Bad Boy Records. They took Tupac under their wing, and he claimed that this experience helped him grow up. Although they wanted him to sign with Bad Boy, Tupac declined their offer. This refusal is speculated to be a factor in the shooting he later experienced. Additionally, Tupac allegedly insulted one of their associates, Jacques Agnat, during an interview, which he believed could have contributed to this setup against him. However, it's also possible that the plot was in motion even before Tupac met Nigel. Nigel is a fictional character created by Kevin Powell for his Vibe magazine articles about Tupac Shakur. The character was based on Jacques, aka Haitian Jack Agnat. Jacques Agnat was also the one who introduced Pac to 19-year-old Ayanna Jackson, who is accusing Pac of sexual abuse. We'll talk about that in a bit. Jacques Agnat is a music executive and promoter originally from Haiti. He has made significant contributions to the rap music scene. His impressive roster of collaborations includes renowned artists such as Tupac Shakur, the Notorious B.I.G., Justin Rose, and Wyclef Jean. However, in 2007, he faced deportation from the United States. The track, Against All Odds, features Tupac declaring, "Hoping my true motherfuckers know this be the truest shit I ever wrote," which highlights his feelings about betrayal. He makes a notable reference to King Tut, saying, "Gunshots to Tut, now you stuck." Interestingly, King Tut was killed shortly after the shooting incident. Additionally, Tupac's friend Stretch was found dead exactly 1 year later, and Tupac suspected Stretch's involvement in the betrayal. In Ambitions and Azarita, he expresses, "Pad bitch ass niggas on my team, so indeed they wet me up." In Against All Odds, he reflects on a friend who turned against him, stating, "And to that nigga that was down for me, rest his head, switch sides. Guess his new friends wanted him dead." Tupac believed that both the shooting and the sexual abuse case were orchestrated setups against him. The circumstances surrounding the shooting appear closely linked to the sexual abuse case Tupac was facing at that time. The same officers who arrested him in relation to the alleged assaults were the ones who responded to the scene of his shooting. Jacques Agnat, also known as Haitian Jack, whom Tupac implicated in the sexual abuse incident, faced minimal consequences, while Tupac received a nearly 4-year sentence in a maximum security facility. In his track, Against All Odds from the Machiavelli album, Tupac retaliated by suggesting that Agnat was a government informant, stating, "Same crime, different trials, nigga. Picture what I said." Agnat is now suing Tupac's estate for over $200 million, claiming he has faced multiple assassination attempts and struggles to find employment. This incident marked the beginning of the feud between Tupac and Bad Boy Records. The media not only misrepresented the details of the shooting, but also distorted the narrative of the rivalry, framing it as part of an East Coast-West Coast conflict. Although Tupac never explicitly accused Biggie or Puffy of involvement in the shooting, he felt betrayed by them as friends who failed to warn him. After his incarceration, they did not visit him, leading Tupac to feel abandoned and believing they were trying to usurp his position. During his time in prison, he contemplated quitting rap entirely, but ultimately decided against it, motivated by the desire to protect his reputation and everything he had worked hard to achieve. Here's an interview Tupac did about the shooting. Can you take us back to that night at Quad Recording Studios in Times Square? The night of the shooting? Sure. Ron G is a DJ out here in New York. He's like, Pac, I want you to come to my house and lay this rap down for my tapes. I said, all right, I'll come for free. So I went to his house. Me, Stretch, and a couple other homeboys. After I laid the song, I got a page from this guy Booker telling me he wanted me to rap on Little Sean's record. Now, this guy I was going to charge because I could see that they was just using me. So I said, all right, you give me 7 G's and I'll do the song. He said, I've got the money. Come. I stopped off to get some weed and he paged me again. Where you at? Why you ain't coming? I'm like, I'm coming, man. Hold on. Did you know this guy? I met him through some rough characters I knew. He was trying to get legitimate and all that, so I thought I was doing him a favor. But when I called him back for directions, he was like, I don't have the money. I said, if you don't have the money, I'm not coming. He hung up the phone, then called me back. I'm going to call Uptown Entertainment CEO Andre Harrell and make sure you get the money. But I'm going to give you the money out of my pocket. So I said, all right, I'm on my way. As we're walking up to the building, somebody screamed from up the top of the studio. It was Little Caesar, Big E's, Notorious B. I said, man, that's my homeboy. As soon as I saw him, all my concerns about the situation were relaxed. So you're saying that going into it, I felt nervous because this guy knew somebody I had major beef with. I didn't want to tell the police, but I can tell the world. Nigel had introduced me to Booker. Everybody knew I was short on money. All my shows were getting canceled. All my money from my records was going to lawyers. All the movie money was going to my family. So I was doing this type of stuff, rapping for guys and getting paid. Who's this guy, Nigel? I was kicking it with him the whole time I was in New York doing Above the Rim. He came to me. He said, I'm going to look after you. You don't need to get in no more trouble. Doesn't Nigel also go by the name of Trevor? Right. There's a real Trevor, but Nigel took on both aliases. You understand? So that's who I was kicking with. I got close to them. I used to dress in baggies and sneakers. They took me shopping. That's when I bought my Rolex and all my jewels. They made me mature. They introduced me to all these gangsters in Brooklyn. I met Nigel's family, went to his kid's birthday party. I trusted him. You know what I'm saying? I even tried to get Nigel in the movie, but he didn't want to be on film. And that bothered me. I don't know any nigga that didn't want to be in the movies. Can we come back to the shooting? Who was with you that night? I was with my homeboy Stretch, his man Fred, and my sister's boyfriend Zay. Not my bodyguard. I don't have a bodyguard. We get to the studio, and there's a dude outside in army fatigues with his hat low on his face. When we walked to the door, he didn't look up. I've never seen a black man not acknowledge me one way or the other, either with jealousy or respect. But this guy just looked to see who I was and turned his face down. Then it didn't click because I had just finished smoking chronic. I'm not thinking something will happen to me in the lobby. While we were waiting to get buzzed in, I saw a dude sitting at a table reading a newspaper. He didn't look up either. These are both black men in their 30s. So first I'm like, these dudes must be security for Biggie because I could tell they were from Brooklyn from their army fatigues. But then I said, wait a minute, even Biggie's homeboys love me. Why don't they look up? I pressed the elevator button, turned around, and that's when the dudes came out with the guns. 2 identical 9Ms. Don't nobody move. Everybody on the floor. You know what time it is. Run your shit. I was like, what should I do? I'm thinking Stretch is gonna fight. He was towering over those niggas. From what I know about the criminal element, if niggas come to rob you, they always hit the big nigga first. But they didn't touch Stretch. They came straight to me. Everybody dropped to the floor like potatoes, but I just froze up. It wasn't like I was being brave or nothing. I just could not get on the floor. And they started grabbing at me to see if I was strapped. They said, take off your jewels, and I wouldn't take them off. The light-skinned dude, the one that was standing outside, was on me. Stretch was on the floor, and the dude with the newspaper was holding the gun on him. He was telling the light-skinned dude, shoot that motherfucker, fuck it. Then I got scared because the dude had the gun to my stomach. All I could think about was piss bags and shit bags. I drew my arm around him to move the gun to my side. He shot and the gun twisted, and that's when I got hit the first time. I felt it in my leg. I didn't know I got shot in my balls. I dropped to the floor. Everything in my mind said, Puck, pretend you're dead. It didn't matter. They started kicking me, hitting me. I never said don't shoot. I was quiet as hell. They were snatching my shit off me while I was laying on the floor. I had my eyes closed, but I was shaking because the situation had me shaking. And then I felt something on the back of my head, something real strong. I thought they stomped me or pistol whipped me, and they were stomping my head against the concrete. I saw white, just white. I didn't hear nothing. I didn't feel nothing. And I said, I'm unconscious. But I was conscious. And then I felt it again, and I could hear things now, and I could see things, and they were bringing me back to consciousness. Then they did it again, and I couldn't hear nothing, and I couldn't see nothing. It was just all white. And then they hit me again, and I could hear things, and I could see things, and I knew I was conscious again. Did you ever hear them say their names? No, but they knew me, or else they would never check for my gun. It was like they were mad at me. I felt them kicking me and stomping me. They didn't hit nobody else. It was like, ooh, motherfucker, ooh, kicking hard. So I'm going unconscious, and I'm not feeling no blood on my head or nothing. The only thing I felt was my stomach hurting real bad. My sister's boyfriend turned me over and said, yo, are you all right? I was like, yes, I'm hit. And Fred is saying he's hit, but that was the bullet that went through my leg. So I stood up and I went to the door, and the shit that fucked me up, as soon as I got to the door, I saw a police car sitting there. I was like, uh-oh, the police are coming. And I didn't even go upstairs yet. So we jumped in the elevator and went upstairs. I'm limping and everything, but I don't feel nothing. It's numb. When we got upstairs, I looked around and it scared the shit out of me. Why? Because Andre Harrell was there. Puffy Bad Boy Entertainment CEO Sean Puffy Combs was there. Big E. There was about 40 niggas there. All of them had jewels on. More jewels than me. I saw Booker, and he had this look on his face like he was surprised to see me. Why? I had just bit the buzzer and said I was coming upstairs. Little Sean bust out crying. I went, why is little Sean crying? And I got shot. He was crying uncontrollably, like, oh my God, Pac, you gotta sit down. I was feeling weird, like, why do they want to make me sit down? Because 5 bullets had passed through your body. I didn't know I was shot in the head yet. I didn't feel nothing. I opened my pants and I could see the gunpowder in the hole in my Carl-Connie drawers. I didn't want to pull them down to see if my dick was still there. I just saw a hole and went, oh shit, roll me some weed. I called my girlfriend and I was like, yo, I just got shot. Call my mother and tell her nobody approached me. I noticed that nobody would look at me. Andre Harrell wouldn't look at me. I had been going to dinner with him the last few days. He had invited me to the set of New York Undercover, telling me he was going to get me a job. Puffy was standing back too. I knew Puffy. He knew how much stuff I had done for Big E. Before he came out, people did see blood on you. They started telling me, your head is bleeding. But I thought it was just a pistol whip. Then the ambulance came and the police. First cop I looked up to see was the cop that took the stand against me in the rape charge. He had a half smile on his face and he could see them looking at my balls. He said, what's up, Tupac? How's it hanging? When I got to Bellevue Hospital, the doctor was going, oh my God. I was like, what? And I was hearing him tell other doctors, look at this. This is gunpowder right here. He was talking about my head. This is the entry wound. This is the exit wound. And when he did that, I could actually feel the holes. I said, oh my God, I could feel that. It was the spots that I was blacking out on. And that's when I said, oh shit, they shot me in my head. They said, you don't know how lucky you are. You got shot 5 times. It was like weird. I did not want to believe it. I could only remember that first shot. Then everything went blank. At any point, did you think you were gonna die? No, I swear to God. Not to sound creepy or nothing. I felt God cared for me from the first time the niggas pulled the gun out. The only thing that hurt me was that stretch and them all fell to the floor. The bullets didn't hurt. Nothing hurt until I was recovering. I couldn't walk. I couldn't get up. And my hand was fucked up. I was looking on the news and it was lying about me. And tell me about some of the coverage that bothered you. The number one thing that bothered me was that dude that wrote that shit that said I pretended to do it, that I had set it up. It was an act. When I read that, I just started crying like a baby, like a bitch. I could not believe it. It just tore me apart. And then the news was trying to say I had a gun and I had weed on me. Instead of saying I was a victim, they were making it like I did it. What about all the jokes saying you had lost one of your testicles? That didn't really bother me because I was like, shit, I'm going to get the last laugh because I've got bigger nuts than all these niggas. My doctors are like, you can have babies. They told me that the first night after I got exploratory surgery. Nothing's wrong. It went through the skin and out the skin. Same thing with my head. Through my skin and out the skin. Have you had a lot of pain since then? Yes, I have headaches. I wake up screaming. I've been having nightmares thinking they're still shooting me. All I see is niggas pulling guns and I hear the dude saying, shoot that motherfucker. Then I wake up sweaty as hell and I'll be like, damn, I have a headache. The psychiatrist at Bellevue said that's post-traumatic stress. Why did you leave Bellevue Hospital? I left Bellevue the next night. They were helping me, but I felt like a science project. They kept coming in, looking at my dick and shit, and this was not a cool position to be in. I knew my life was in danger. The fruit of Islam was there, but they didn't have guns. I knew what type of niggas I was dealing with, so I left Bellevue and went to Metropolitan. They gave me a phone and said, "You're safe here. Nobody knows you're here." But the phone would ring and someone would say, "You ain't dead yet?" I was like, damn, those motherfuckers don't have no mercy. So I checked myself out and my family took me to a safe spot, somebody who really cared about me in New York City. This interview was taken with Vibe magazine, written by Kevin Powell for the April 1995 issue. The songs where Tupac made the most reference to this shooting are Ambitions, Aze Rita, and Against All Odds. Listen to the songs carefully and try to figure out what each line means. Like Tupac said, study your lessons. I have a feeling what's down in the dark will come to light. I'd be surprised if Tupac didn't have more blatant held until after his death. Allegedly, years later, James Rosamond, better known as Jimmy Hinchman, has found himself entangled in the shooting of rapper Tupac Shakur. Tupac pointed fingers at Rosamond in his track Against All Odds. In June 2011, a lesser-known figure, Dexter Isaac, claimed that Rosamond had paid him to carry out the attack, stating, "In 1994, James Rosamond hired me to rob Tupac at the Quad Studio. He gave me $2,500 and all the jewelry I took, except for one ring he wanted for himself. It was the larger of the 2 diamond rings we stole. He mentioned wanting to reset the stone for his girlfriend at the time. Cynthia Reed. I still have the chain we took that night as evidence. Some say that the reason for the robbery was because Tupac did not want to sign with Bad Boy Records. And it is said that P. Diddy may have also had a hand in it too, allegedly." In 2008, the LA Times released an article claiming that Rosamond and associates of Sean Combs, also known as Diddy, orchestrated an attack in retaliation for Shakur's refusal to sign with Combs' record label. However, the publication later retracted this story, acknowledging that their accusations were founded on falsified FBI documents. Since the statute of limitations has run out on this case, neither Rosamond nor anyone else will face trial for what was categorized as a robbery rather than attempted murder. Now, let's get into sexual assault case and who is Jacques, aka Haitian Jack, aka Nigel Agnet. In early November 1993, Jacques Haitian Jack Agnet crossed paths with Tupac Shakur in Manhattan. They were introduced by one of Agnet's acquaintances during a gathering at the Octagon nightclub. On November 14, 1993, Agnet joined Tupac at Nell's, a now-closed upscale nightclub in Manhattan known for attracting celebrities and often denying entry to stars like Don Johnson and Cher. At this event, Agnet introduced Tupac to 19-year-old Ayanna Jackson, who engaged in sexual activity with him on the dance floor shortly after they met. Following this encounter, Tupac invited Jackson to his luxurious suite at the Leigh Parker Meridian Hotel. 4 days later, Jackson returned to the suite where Tupac, Agnet, Tupac's road manager Charles Man Fuller, and another individual were present. Hours later, Jackson accused the group of gang rape. Subsequently, Tupac, Fuller, and Agnet were arrested 4 days later and faced multiple charges, including first-degree sexual abuse, sodomy, and illegal firearm possession. Agnet's lawyer, Paul Brenner, managed to separate his case from Tupac's, and it was reported that Shakur, wary of Agnet's intentions, began to pull away from him. In November 1994, during a night out with his friend and fellow actor Mickey Rourke, Tupac expressed his worries. He confided in Rourke's acquaintance, Daily News journalist A.G. Benza, revealing that heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson had called him from prison to caution him about Agnet. Benza later reported that Tupac suspected Agnet had orchestrated a setup against him. On November 30, around 12:25 a.m., Tupac was shot 5 times during a robbery in the lobby of Quad Recording Studios in Manhattan by 2 armed assailants. He had been invited to the studio by James Jimmy Hinchman, Rosamond, to collaborate on a track with rapper Little Sean Wilkins, whom Rosamond managed. At the time of the shooting, Tupac was with Randy Stretch Walker, who was shot twice in the abdomen, and another companion having been introduced to Rosamond by Agnet. On December 1st, Tupac, appearing in court in a wheelchair and heavily bandaged, along with Fuller, was convicted of 2 counts of sexual abuse while being acquitted of other charges. On February 7, 1995, Tupac was sentenced to a prison term ranging from 18 months to 4.5 years. Agnet, on the other hand, received 3 years of probation and a $1,000 fine after pleading guilty to 2 misdemeanor charges. Tupac ultimately served 8 months before being released on bail in October, pending an appeal. Haitian Jack also did an interview talking about himself and how he met Tupac. This is what was said in the interview. I met Pac at a club in Manhattan. The name of the club at the time was the Octagon. I was having a little party in there, and a friend of mine told me Pac was asking who I was because he saw everybody sitting around me with a lot of champagne, a lot of women, a lot of guys. He was like, "Who's that guy?" My friend was like, "That's Jack. Do you want to meet him?" Pac said, "Yeah." And my friend checked in with me first. So my friend came over to me and said, "Tupac wants to meet you." I wasn't really familiar with him like that yet. I asked my friend, "Tupac?" My friend said, "Yeah, the kid that shot the cops in Atlanta." I said, "Okay, I know who you're talking about. Bring him over and get him a drink." From that night, we started a friendship. He came and hung out with me at Scores, and we watched that Riddick Bowe fight where the guy parachuted into the ring. And we watched the fight in the VIP room of Scores. I got him a bottle of Louis XIII de Remy Martin Cuban cigars, and he was like, "Wow, man, this is the life." I told him, "This is the life I live, but I don't bring attention to myself. I do what I do with my friends, and that's it." I kept telling him while he was on those New York streets, they do not like people who shoot cops. This is a cop state. The best thing for you to do is to stay in the studio, stay focused, do your music, and come check me when you're free. Because at the time I was hanging out in Queens mostly. He said, "Cool, I'm going to do that." But when I was around him, he started drinking, smoking, and hanging around with these rap dudes. They took him a whole nother direction, you know. Let's get into who Jacques Haitian Jack Agnet. Jacques Agnet was born in Haiti in 1963 to affluent parents who were politically connected during the regime of President Jean-Claude Duvalier. After Duvalier was overthrown in 1986, the family relocated to Bedford-Stuyvesant in Brooklyn, New York. Upon arriving in the U.S., Agnet spoke only French and faced bullying, often being chased home from school. However, he adapted quickly and began a life of crime as a teenager, targeting local drug dealers in a robbery ring known as the Black Mafia, which included accomplice Walter King Tut Johnson. Later, Agnet opened a barbershop in Queens, situated next to the Manhattan Proper Bar. During this period, he mingled with notable figures such as Brooklyn rapper Little Sean Wilkins, former heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson, Rexton Shabba Ranks, Gordon Mark Anthony Buju, Banton, Myrie, as well as pop icon Madonna. A 22-year-old rapper from Oakland, California, was in Atlanta to perform at a college concert when a traffic altercation occurred on the morning of October 31st. Eyewitnesses reported that the Whitwell brothers and their wives were crossing the street when a car nearly hit them. This led to a confrontation with the vehicle's occupants, and Tupac Shakur, traveling in a separate car with his group, decided to step in. Witnesses claim that Mark Whitwell displayed a firearm, though it remains unclear if he actually fired it. In response, Tupac fired shots, injuring one Whitwell in the buttocks and the other in the abdomen. Shortly after the incident, police apprehended the rapper at his hotel, charging him with 2 counts of aggravated assault. He was released the next day on a $55,059 bond, while the injured parties were treated at Atlanta's Grady Memorial Hospital. Meanwhile, Agnet and Shakur quickly formed a friendship, frequently hanging out together. On November 6th, they visited the renowned Scores strip club in Manhattan, where they enjoyed the heavyweight title rematch between Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield, indulging in $2,600, a bottle, Louis XIII D, Remy Martin Cognac, in the VIP area. The two shared a mutually beneficial arrangement where Agnet provided marijuana, women, and security, while Tupac keenly observed Agnet to prepare for his role as a New York gangster in the film Above the Rim. Although Tupac had already starred in 2 feature films and had several hit songs playing frequently on the radio, he still lacked access to as many popular nightclubs as Agnet. It was also reported that Agnet gifted Tupac his first Rolex watch. Later, Shakur implicated his friend, rapper Christopher Notorious B.I.G. Wallace, who had previously advised him to steer clear of Agnet in the incident that led to his shooting. In early 1995, Agnet transitioned into a record executive role, being appointed as director of A&R by his childhood friend Lance Rivera, the CEO of Undies Records. Interestingly, Rivera's business partner and co-owner of Undies was Wallace, who co-founded the label in 1993 In 1997, Agnet initiated a libel lawsuit against Shakur's estate, Death Row Records, and its parent company, Interscope Records, seeking $200 million. He claimed that since the release of Against All Odds, he had been living in fear for his life and faced obstacles in his career. However, the lawsuit was dismissed on December 16, 1998. Agnet and Rosamond reportedly parted ways on unfavorable terms after a shootout between them in Miami, Florida. In 1999, Agnet was brought on as security by music executive Steve Stout after an incident where Sean Puff Daddy Combs attacked Stout with a champagne bottle. In the early 2000s, Agnet took on the role of a music manager, working with various recording artists including the singer-songwriter Geo Washington, who was then known as Governor. Agnet played a key role in helping Washington land a recording contract with Atlantic Records. However, in 2004, Agnet faced legal troubles after he shot a man during a confrontation at a nightclub on the fashionable Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles. This incident led to his incarceration, and in 2007, he was deported to Haiti. In this segment of the video, we delve into the intricate details surrounding the sexual abuse case involving Tupac. We'll explore his account of the events that unfolded that night. If you feel that this topic might be too intense for you, feel free to exit the video and I'll catch you in the next one. Now, let's take a look at what Tupac shared with Vibe magazine about that evening. The Quad Studio incident felt like a trap to me. He should have trusted his instincts and avoided the situation altogether. However, he mentioned that seeing Lil Says eased his concerns. Still, he should have thought twice, especially knowing that the person who invited him to record was connected to someone he had a conflict with. My research revealed that when Pac gave Biggie the green light to sign with Bad Boy, he actually wanted to caution him about Diddy and his crew. The reason Pac held back was that if he had warned Biggie, it might have led to Biggie informing Diddy, escalating the situation further. I'm diving deeper into the stories of Pac and Biggie, so stay tuned for upcoming videos. And we talk about the rape case at all? Okay, Nigel and Trevor took me to Nails. When we got there, I was immediately impressed because it was different than any club I'd been in. It wasn't crowded, there was lots of space, there were beautiful women there. I was meeting Ronnie Lott from the New York Jets and Derek Coleman from the Nets. They were coming up to me like, "Pac, we're proud of you." I felt so tall that night because they were people's heroes and they sang I was their hero. I felt above and beyond, like I was glowing. Somebody introduced me to this girl, and the only thing I noticed about her, she had a big chest, but she was not attractive. She looked dumpy. Like, money came to me and said, "This girl wants to do more than meet you." I already knew what that meant. She wanted to fuck. I just left them and went to the dance floor by myself. They were playing some Jamaican music and I'm just grooving. Then this girl came out and started dancing, and the shit that was weird, she didn't even come to me face first. She came ass first. So I'm dancing to this reggae music. You know how sensuous that is. She's touching my dick. She's touching my balls. She opened my zipper. She put her hands on me. There's a little dark part in Nels and I see people over there making out already. So she starts pushing me this way. I know what time it is. We go over in the corner. She's touching me. I lift up my shirt while I'm dancing, showing off my tattoos and everything. She starts kissing my stomach, kissing my chest, licking me and shit. She's going down. And I'm like, oh shit. She pulled my dick out. She started sucking my dick on the dance floor. That shit turned me on. I wasn't thinking like this is going to be a rape case. I'm thinking like this is going to be a good night. You know what I'm saying? Soon as she finished that, just enough to get me solid rock hard, we got off the dance floor. I told Nigel, I've got to get out of here. I'm about to take her to the hotel. I'll see y'all later. Nigel was like, no. I'm going to take you back. We drive to the hotel. We go upstairs and have sex real quick. As soon as I came, that was it. I was tired. I was drunk. I knew I had to get up early in the morning. So I was like, what are you going to do? You can spend the night or you can leave. She left me her number. And everything was cool. Nigel was spending the night in my room all these nights. When he found out she sucked my dick on the floor and we had sex, he and Trevor were livid. Trevor is a big freak. He was going crazy. All he kept asking me was, "Dee Dee, did you fuck in the ass?" He was listening to every single detail. I thought, this is just some guy shit. It's all good. What happened on the night of the alleged sexual abuse? We had a show to do in New Jersey at Club 88. This dude said, "I'll be there with the limo to pick you up at midnight." We went shopping. We got dressed up. We were all ready. Nigel was saying, "Why don't you give her a call?" So we were all sitting in the hotel drinking. I'm waiting for the show. And Nigel's like, I called her. I mean, she called me and she's on her way. But I wasn't thinking about her no second time. We were watching TV when the phone rings and she's downstairs. Nigel gave Man, my manager, some money to pay for the cab, and I was like, let that bitch pay for her own cab. She came upstairs looking all nice, dressed all provocative and shit, like she was ready for a prom date. So we're all sitting there talking and she's making me uncomfortable because instead of sitting with Nigel and them, she's sitting on the arm of my chair. And Nigel and Trevor are looking at her like a chicken, like she's like food. It's a real uncomfortable situation. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to take her to the room and get a massage. I'm thinking about being with her that night at Nell's. So we get in the room. I'm laying on my stomach. She's massaging my back. I turn around. She starts massaging my front. This lasted for about a half an hour. In between, we would stop and kiss each other. I'm thinking she's about to give me another blowjob. But before she could do that, some niggas came in and I froze up more than she froze up. If she would have said anything, I would say, hold on, let me finish. But I can't say nothing because she's not saying nothing. How do I look saying, hold on? That would be like I'm making her my girl. So they came and they started touching her ass. They going, ooh, she's got a nice ass. Nigel isn't touching her, but I can hear his voice leading it. Like, put her panties down, put her pantyhose down. I just got up and walked out the room. When I went to the other suite, Man told me that Taliba, my publicist at the time, had been there for a while and was waiting in the bedroom of that suite. I went to see Taliba and we talked about what she had been doing during the day. Then I went and lay down on the couch and went to sleep. When I woke up, Nigel was standing over me going pock, pock, and all the lights was on in both rooms. The whole mood had changed. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I was drugged. I didn't know how much time had passed. So when I woke up, it was like, you're going to the police, you're going to the police. Nigel walks out the room, comes back with the girl. Her clothes is on, ain't nothing tore. She just upset, crying hysterically. Why you let them do this to me? She's not making sense. I came to see you, you let them do this to me. I'm like, I don't got time for this shit right here. You gotta chill out with that shit. Stop yelling at me and looking at me all crazy. She said, this not the last time you're gonna hear from me, and slammed the door. And Nigel goes, don't worry about it, Pac, don't worry, I'll handle it. She just tripping. I asked him what happened, and he was like, too many niggas. You know, I ain't even tripping no more, you know? Niggas start going downstairs, but nobody was coming back upstairs. I'm sitting upstairs smoking weed, like, where the fuck is everybody at? Then I get a call from Taliba from the lobby saying, the police is down here. And that's what landed you in jail? But you're saying that you never did anything. Never did nothing. Only thing I saw was all three of them in there and that nigga talking about how fat her ass was. I got up because the nigga sounded sick. I don't know if she's with these niggas or if she's mad at me for not protecting her. But I know I feel ashamed because I wanted to be accepted. And because I didn't want no harm done to me, I didn't say nothing. How did you feel about women during the trial, and how do you feel about women now? When the charge first came up, I hated black women. I felt like I put my life on the line. At the time I made Keep Your Head Up, nobody had no songs about black women. I put out Keep Your Head Up from the bottom of my heart. It was real, and they didn't defend it. I felt like it should have been women all over the country talking about Tupac couldn't have did that. And people was actually asking me, did you do it? Then, going to trial, I started seeing the black woman that was helping me. Now I've got a brand new vision of them because in here it's mostly black female guards. They don't give me no extra favors, but they treat me with human respect. They're telling me, when you get out of here, you gotta change. They be putting me on the phone with their kids. You know what I'm saying? They just give me love. What's gonna happen if you have to serve time? If it happens, I gotta serve it like a trooper. Of course, my heart will be broke. I'll be torn apart, but I have to serve it like a trooper. It's important to clarify that I'm not diminishing the experiences of genuine victims with what I'm about to express. This is aimed at those women who, out of anger or spite, falsely accuse someone as a form of revenge. It truly saddens me to think about what Tupac endured with that woman. It highlights how easily accusations can be made and how quickly authorities may take them at face value. As women, we must hold ourselves accountable for our actions. It's unjust to falsely accuse someone simply because of rejection or anger. Such actions can irreparably damage lives, all because of personal grievances. This behavior undermines the struggles of real victims of sexual assault. I recall Tupac mentioning in an interview that he wished he had made a false accusation against her after her antics on the dance floor. What she did at that club was indeed outrageous. Many people have valid points regarding Tupac's interactions with women. He was an educated, respected, and attractive man who never needed to coerce anyone. My ongoing research into Tupac's life, including documentaries and Frank Alexander's book, reinforces that he never had to force anything. Women were drawn to him, often going out of their way to be with him. He didn't need to pay or pressure anyone for intimacy. Opportunities were always available to him. I also watched Ayanna Jackson's interview on Vlad, and I must admit, I find her claims about Tupac hard to believe. While I can accept her statements about other individuals, Tupac's situation just doesn't add up. Even today, there are instances where certain individuals cry wolf to retaliate against someone for various reasons, and the police often tend to believe a woman over a man without question. The case of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard serves as a significant example, highlighting how a woman can deceive and manipulate law enforcement to take revenge, even when she is actually the aggressor. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the quad shooting and Ayanna Jackson's allegations against Tupac. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Also, feel free to suggest any other topics you'd like me to discuss. Don't forget I stream on YouTube and Twitch, so make sure to follow me there and give this video a thumbs up. Until next time, take care of yourselves and look out for one another.